I really love the attitude in the poses and the expressions. It's great stuff. So if I just look at the keys, they're really cool. Love this one. Yep. Love the anticipation that before she gets into this. Yeah. Now I think it will still read if you do.
Okay.
है ना? In that case, you can always push this expression even more. है ना? So the final extreme that you're getting into, you can always push it even further, just so
Mm-hmm.
that you can accommodate a couple more frames before that. है ना?
Okay.
है ना? Now you can add maybe one more drawing here.
Mm-hmm.
है ना? So that will help. Now, how do I know that we'll need one more? It's just by experience. But apart from that also, if you think about it, 2 frames doesn't really feel like enough time for stuff to happen, you know? So, because 2 frames would mean there's at least 1 frame to ease out of the first pose. The other frame is to ease into the next pose. But then that's about it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So you'll need a couple more frames for it to just feel like it's crunching,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
thinking in those terms. So that will really give it the sense that she's really getting into it. And also a quick good tip would be that if the spacing gets super tight, you can always put things on threes also, right? Instead of going on
Mm-hmm.
twos, you can also do on threes. Because the spacing
Okay.
is so tiny that even drawing on threes can work well.
Mm-hmm.
And here also, I think you can add one drawing for it to start easing out, probably.
Yeah.
And just to offset things slightly so that eyebrows start moving, but the eyes haven't, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And one thing I noticed is that between this, the position of the eye is also shifting, which it shouldn't. So just keep that in mind also.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know? So again, it
Mm-hmm.
just comes down to thinking about where it lies. So even if the should stay there, right? Even this, you just keep it anchored because the head isn't moving. So keep that anchored, right?
Okay.
The rest is fine. I think the nose should come forward slightly also because the push is happening in this direction and not that direction.
Mm.
So just thinking about that and also think about what is bulging. So I think it's this volume, this mass here that is going to bulge, right?
Yeah.
So make sure that that bulges and not this. So it'll be more, it'll be a lot subtler. Be like that. And if you do
Okay.
it completely like this, then it doesn't really look that obvious. So that can, I think the connection of the neck can be slightly improved. The neck should be here. Again, because ear is here, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
think about that, the neck should connect closer to the ear. But that's just what I feel. Yeah, so this is nice. Probably it would also be a good idea to add slight movement on the hairband also, you know,
Oh.
as the muscles on the forehead also scrunch
Hmm.
slightly here. You know. It just gives a lot more life to it. That's all. If you don't do it, that's fine
Yeah.
also. But it just makes it look so much more natural. Especially when you start in betweening it, it feels very nice when
Yeah.
the thing just pulls it down slightly. So that's great. Now here's some spacing issue. Do you spot it? Like these,
Yes, even.
yeah. And
Mm.
not because it's even, but it has to start moving. So it has to ease out, right? So if it has to ease out, it just has to be a little closer to the previous drawing, right? So
Yeah.
overall, either that or maybe you can just
Add another one.
add one more
Yeah.
before that, you know?
Yeah.
Like here instead of, but then it would change the timing of the turn definitely because
Mm.
the hold would stay for fewer frames than it is right now. Yeah. But if you just look at how the turn progresses, it's a big spacing here, then small, then here should get smaller and smaller, right? So
Yeah.
just thinking about that, I think it's this drawing which should be here. Then it will all work out. Again, for the follow through, don't make it come to a stop like this. You know? So if you have a hold here, you can use those hold frames for just the follow through to come to a settle
Mhm.
nicely. You know?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because the amount of drag, oops, sorry, the amount of drag the hair has here,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty much, I think you can reduce it slightly. But then once it starts coming back, it should just overshoot slightly here, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then use the
So,
the rest of the frames to settle back.
okay.
I have a lot of frames here, you know.
Yeah.
So probably it would also be a good idea to animate the hair on a separate layer. So at first you just take this as your model, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
You can just rough the hair out slightly, but don't necessarily think too much about it. Yeah, from there,
Yeah.
I like this key. Now, again, for it to get from here to here, you need at least one frame to ease out of this and one frame to ease into it. But of course, if it is happening fast, then you
Mm.
can skip either the ease out and just keep the ease in. You know? But here,
Okay.
nothing. Here, it's just an even spacing. So if you don't want to spend too much time easing into this, so probably you can add one drawing just easing out. You know?
Okay.
Makes, you know? Makes sense,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, probably she just starts her blink first, her eyes close completely, and then she goes into this pose. Yeah, very nice. I really like the arc on the chin here.
Mm. Thanks.
And then, yeah, again, instead of going for an even spacing, you can really push it slightly more, the breakdown. What you could do is like keep this closer to the previous key,
Okay.
open the jaw more so that it favors the next key.
Mm.
So it's almost like the jaw falls first and then the rest of the head falls back.
Mm-hmm.
And again, don't be in a rush to settle into the pose. You can always just keep easing into it. You know? Here also, as you start falling into this pose, then you can probably keep dragging the eyebrows, probably, let's say, all of that. So you see how the expression is changing. And here you really open her mouth more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a contrast. So there's less movement happening on the top. As you can see, the eyes are pretty close, but the
Yeah.
mouth is the one which is dropping the most. So it gives a nice contrast. So one thing follows the other. So the jaw is the one which is fairly closer to the last frame, but the rest of it is still up at the top. And then you just keep on slowing into it, right?
Yeah.
And then you settle your jaw back as you have. Again, from here to here, you'll need a couple more frames.
Okay.
Because otherwise it just feels like tuck tuck. You see?
Mm-hmm.
It goes down and then comes back. So there's no transitioning frame between these extremes. Probably just one more drawing between these two can help.
Okay.
So now I'll just play again. It might still be choppy, but I'll upload the export. So don't
Yeah.
worry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here I think the chin का थोड़ा double take type हो गया. So
Double
I'll,
T ऐसे?
as in it just falls, then it slows down, then it falls again because I changed
Oh,
the
okay.
spacing to it. So I think I'll just delete these drawings here so that you just ease into this and ease back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like that.